So this was put out by the Independent, and well, good golly gosh, color me shocked. Giving your kid a smartphone before the age of 12 can lead to massive health problems, study finds. Well, congratulations on finally catching up with the rest of us normal people who have always thought that giving kids of a certain age a phone or any kind of technology like that, it's a bad idea. And for me, it's not just the smartphone. You see these kids fucking walking around, smartphone, tablets, you name it. They're these kids, and they people wonder why these kids are like so socially awkward now. It's because they don't have to do anything in real life. Everything they want to do, they can just go online, where they can just browse their phones or tablets or whatever. I've said before, around here when we have snow, you don't see anyone outside. In the 90s, when I grew up, when it snowed out, people were outside. Here, there's no one. Oh my God, we gotta protect the kids. Oh my God, what if they get cold and they get sick? Well, that's one of the things that come with playing in the snow. You bundle them up to let, but no one around here plays in the fucking snow. This is a place where there's maybe a little bit of frost on the ground, or just a little cold out, and like, oh, we gotta delay school by 2 hours. These kids are so coddled, so overly protected, and allowed to just use technology whenever they want. They're socially awkward. They're not growing up to understand how the world is. And then when these kids finally become adults and get into the real world, they can't survive. It's fucking ridiculous. If you think your preteen smartphone is harming their health, you may be right. Also, it's on the parents. Stop allowing technology to parent your kids. If you don't want to be a parent, you shouldn't fucking have kids. Stop putting your kid in front of phones or tablets or laptops or whatever, and then just leaving them. And then acting surprised when they're going on sites that they shouldn't. Or becoming socially awkward because everything they could possibly want to do, they can do online. It's on the parents. Okay? You have stuff like YouTube where the fucking creators have to bend over backwards because think of the children. When there's YouTube Kids, there's fucking protections you can use on the on safe search and this and that to prevent things from. Exercise your rights as parents and fucking parent your own goddamn kids. It is not on everyone else to tell you, hey, maybe you shouldn't leave your kid in front of a phone or a tablet or whatever for fucking 12 hours a day. A new study of more than 10,000 U.S. adolescents has found that kids who own a smartphone between the ages of 12 or before the age of 12 are at an increased risk of depression, obesity, and insufficient sleep compared to their peers who don't have smartphones, contradicting a smaller Stanford medicine study from 2022 that found no connection between the age kids acquire their first cell phone and sleep patterns. When people have access to that, it's like a drug. It's addictive. Having that kind of information or fun, they play their games and whatever at their fingertips at all times. I mean, it's no different than when we had video games, staying up long hours into the night. But for me, that was on the weekends. During the week, we didn't stay up. Now, during the week, this was obviously before cell phones. I watched a lot of like Discovery Channel and stuff when I was a kid. So if there was show on that ran till maybe 10, 11 o'clock, I'd stay up and watch it, but then I went to bed. But, staying up late hours into the night playing video games, that was stuff we did on the weekends. When we go over to a friend's house for the weekend, we'd stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning playing video games, or we would go out to the park at fucking 2 a.m. We did stuff, but now these kids, whenever they have free time, their eyes are glued to a fucking screen. And again, this is on the parents. You could say, oh, well, the kid needs it to wake up. Get them an alarm clock. Get them an alarm clock at night. so that way they can still wake up on time. Take their phone away from them when they're sleeping. Like before they go to bed, take their fucking phone away. They don't need to be texting or whatever at fucking 1 o'clock in the morning. They don't. So get them an alarm clock and just take the phone away. Give it back to them during the day. You know, or be even more responsible for responsible parents and get one of those phones that do nothing except for like call and text, where the internet and all that is just completely not even there. Because a child really should have no reason for it apart from calling and texting. All three conditions are risk factors for life-threatening illness that impact millions of Americans each year, such as heart disease, cancer, or diabetes. Those who acquired smartphones between the ages of 12 and 13 also had a raised risk of mental illness and insufficient sleep at age 13 compared to those without. I mean, I got my first phone. It was a flip phone. And obviously back then you really couldn't do anything on phones. So naturally, I still had a life. I was living on base. I was outside all the time. Like I said, I was living on base, and I remember it was like what, 10 o'clock? Base curfew was like 10 o'clock. And I remember me and my friend were walking back to, I think it was his house. It was the weekend. And freaking police stopped by and was like, "Oh, where are you two headed?" And we're like, "We're headed back to his house." And they're like, "Where is his house?" It's like right down on that street road over there. They're like, "All right, just make sure you get home." But we had flip phones, you know, therefore we had, you know, the desire to go out and do things still. Again, fucking snows around here and no one is outside at all. Previous studies have shown ties to negative impacts on adolescent mental health and identified health harms from screen use. I mean, apart from ocular issues from just all fucking day. But the new study did not look into which specific features of smartphone use are linked to poor health. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Our findings suggest that we should view smartphones as a significant factor in teen health, approaching the decision to give a child a phone with care and considering the potential impact on their life and health. Dr. Ran Barzilay, a child psychiatrist at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. More kids have smartphones now, which is fucking pathetic. I mean, I see, you know, you'll go around, you know, you'll go to stores and whatever, and there's kids who are in strollers who are just like, why does someone that age need to be like, what happened to just taking the kid out, you know, bringing them out, putting them in a stroller, and just letting them look around? No, instead of what? Parent your own fucking kids. Fuck. Barzilay and others from California's UC Berkeley and New York City's Columbia University reviewed data collected between 2018 and 2020 from the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study, the largest long-term look at children's brain development in America to date. They look at smartphone ownership, the age of the kids, the age the kids first got their phones, and what other devices they own when the kids hit puberty, how parents monitored use, and socioeconomic and demographics variables. Again, I got my first phone when I was like 13, 14, but it was a flip phone. So it was meant to text and call. You couldn't do anything on it. You could maybe there was few free games that really didn't require a whole lot of space or you know a lot of advanced technology for back then, but you know, we still did stuff, you know. And I even, you know, now it's like you go out to a restaurant or whatever and everyone's just fucking sitting there on their phones. The kids, you see these birthday parties, like pictures of birthday parties online where all these kids are just sitting around, just on their fucking phones. And then again, people wonder why they're so fucking socially awkward. They're like, "Hey, did you see? I'm gonna send this to you, okay?" I, what happened? Like, what happened to actually fucking talking to people? And I was thinking about this today, with just technology and this fucking AI and automated bullshit, like with jobs. Like I could fill out six, 7 applications, and then I'll get an email or text automatically as soon as I'm done filling out, wanting to set up an interview. What happened to the days of, yes, hi, this is so and so from Pizza Hut. I looked over your application and I was wondering if you were interested in scheduling an interview. What happened to those days? I mean, when I was at Subway, that's what happened. I got a call from an actual person, but now it's like all automated. And sometimes it may not even be legit. You may call and say, "Oh, well, I had an I filled out an application, scheduled an interview," and they're like, "Oh, well, we're not actually hiring." What happened to the managers just doing their fucking jobs? One of the most basic jobs of a manager is the hiring process. Why are you automating that shit? Technology in general is great, but we need to learn how to prioritize, and kids should not be having cell phones at all, in my opinion. And if they do, text and call. That should be the only things they should be allowed to do. All the fun stuff, that's for when they get home. They should not be sitting in class playing fucking, building brown bricks and Minecraft. They shouldn't be playing games or whatever during class. When I was a kid, you might have that one person who brought like their fucking Game Boy to school to play at recess. But for the most part, we wanted the fun stuff, the video games, and we did that after school. We didn't have access to it during class. When we went to family functions or birthday parties, we didn't all just sit there and we did stuff. We played outside. If a pool party, we were swimming. We weren't all just sitting around the pool. Like, technology is completely rotting fucking kids' minds. And again, then they grow up to be completely awkwardly, just socially awkward because they don't know how to interact with anyone. They're destroying their fucking eyes, being glued to the fucking screen all day. Having that kind of rush of being able to have all the shit whenever you want it, it's making them less likely to want to do anything else. Hence the increase in like obesity and whatever, because I don't want to go out, I just want to sit on my phone all day. So I agree, technology is great, but it needs to be have priorities. Kids should not be having phones or tablets or whatever, especially during class or work or family functions or parties. You're there to socialize, not fucking sit next to each other and just the entire fucking time. Long gone are the days of person leaving their house, walking down the street to another person's house. "Hey, I was wondering if Ryan can come out to play." They don't do that shit anymore. It's pathetic. Of the 10,588 participants, 66,739 owned a smartphone. Significantly more children and teens now have their own mobile device now than just a decade ago, including 51% of children ages 8 or younger. Why does an 8-year-old or younger need a fucking phone? Again, if it's to call or text, that's one thing. But why are they given smartphones where they have access to everything? According to data released earlier from this year from Common Sense Media, the tally was just 45% in 2017. More than 60% of parents of kids between the ages of 11 and 12 said their child has a smartphone. Pew Research Center survey from October found. But parents shouldn't take away their kids' phones just yet. And smartphones have been shown to help kids. No. The complete opposite. It's the complete opposite. TikTok and all that shit is not socializing. Replying to comments or talking to people online is not socializing. That's faux socializing. And while, yes, it can be helpful, it does not prepare them for socializing in person with real fucking people. And are important tools in emergencies. Yeah, emergencies. You give them a phone, text, calling, and it's used for emergencies. Simple as that. We're not claiming that smartphones are detrimental to all adolescents' health. Rather, we advocate for thoughtful consideration of the health implications, balancing both positive and negative consequences. Barzilay and the researchers issued new recommendations for families whose children have smartphones. Those include establishing clear usage terms before giving a child a phone, setting guidelines for phone use in the bedroom, at dinner, and during homework, and adjust privacy and content settings. Yeah, parents never do this shit. Because why would they when they can just let technology parent their kids? Most probably, all teens will eventually have a smartphone. Once this happens, it is advisable to monitor what our children do on their phones, ensuring that they're not exposed to inappropriate content and that the smartphones don't disrupt sleep. Yeah. Well, you guys are truly fucking up then, aren't you? In the future, the researchers plan to investigate specific aspects of smartphone use, such as app types and usage patterns that negatively impact health. I don't know, anything where you can go on and, post something public, but then you're getting comments about, oh, how you're ugly or you're, phobe and this and that. And then you hear the story about some freaking 11-year-old who offed themselves because they couldn't handle online bullying. Maybe that's one reason why kids shouldn't have phones. But they hope to study children who get smartphones before the age of 10. But while kids may not need to give up their phones, Barzilay also stressed that the importance of putting them down. It's critical for young people to have time away from their phones to engage in physical activity, which can protect against obesity and enhance mental health over time. Yeah, good luck with that. Again, it snows around here. Not one fucking person is outside. Not one. There I am, walking. I walk these lonely roads, the only ones that I've ever known. Fucking snow on the ground. Not one person is out. I am like literally the only person out in the area at that moment. It's pathetic. And we have that really huge field. We go down to Dollar General, there's that really big field. Perfect place to be making snow angels and building snowmen and having snowball. Nope. No one. Why? Because everyone's inside. Oh, well, it's too cold. So, all in all, if you're going to give your kid a phone, it needs to be for communication only, to call, text, and to call in case of an emergency. As for internet access and all these other apps that they have, no. Especially 10 and younger, why do they need access to stuff like that? Again, we all grew up just fine before all this stuff happened. Without smartphones and tablets. I mean, We had computers, not as advanced as they are now. We really didn't have cell phones. We grew up just fine. We went outside. We socialized. We didn't sit there at parties or events and just all fucking day. We know how to interact with humans because we actually went, again, we would go over to whoever's house, physically knock on the door and say, hey, did you want to come out? Do you want to come outside? Or, oh, hey, is Ryan here? You know, can he come outside and play? I mean, and again, it's on the parents because you shouldn't just put your kid in front of technology and say, oh, okay, there you go. You need to watch what they're doing. If you don't want to parent your kid, don't become a fucking parent. But congratulations on finally seeing what we've been all saying for the longest fucking time. That maybe it's not so healthy for little fucking kids to be staring at a phone all damn day. Congratulations for catching up with the rest of us. That's going to do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.